First, we'll create a couple of Christmas lights to go on the wire. Google any reference picture of lights and download it. You can then drag and drop the image into Blender. Add a circle. Lower the vertices to 12 so not to add too much detail. Now using E to extrude and S to scale, trace out a very simple base. Toggle X-ray view so you can select all the vertices. Now to create the bulb, select the top circle of vertices of the base and hit Shift-D to copy it. Scale it down slightly and now trace out the bulb. Use Ctrl+R to add loop cuts and S to scale them. Try and keep the cuts at even distances. At the top, extrude and leaving a small hole, then press M and merge at center. Add a subdivision modifier by pressing Ctrl+1. Back in edit mode to sharpen the base. Add loop cuts, then hit Ctrl+B to bevel the cut. Then slide to the desired look. In edit mode, press A to select everything and move the whole light to place the origin point just above the bottom of the base. In object mode, press Shift-D to copy the light and we'll modify this one to be crinkly. In edit mode, separate the bulb from the base. Do this by selecting any vertex of the bulb and hit L to select the whole bulb. Then hit P to separate by selection. Add a decimate modifier to the bulb and select one level of unsubdivided. Then right-click the bulb and convert to Mesh to apply the modifiers. Select all bulb faces, and in the Face menu, choose Poke Faces. Select one center pattern vertex and hit Alt-G and select amount of adjacent faces. Press S to scale, then Shift-Z to only scale on the XY plane. In object mode, add a subdivide modifier and right-click to select Shade Smooth. With the bulb selected, Shift-select the base and hit Ctrl-J to join them back together as one object. Now we have the lights and wire objects. Let's put them together, but first I'm going to redo the shaders. As before, I'm going to find a scratch's texture. You can drag and drop it straight to the shader. Ctrl-T to add mapping to the texture. Ctrl-Shift-Click to preview the node. Switch mapping to object and scale to desired look. Using a color ramp, you can choose the desired roughness for both areas. Add the color ramp to the normal and add a bump node. Set the color ramp input to the bump's height and scale it down to get a slight bump. Now we'll do the light. Add the wire shader to the light. Select Make this a single user material and we can then modify it without affecting the wire. In edit mode, hit A to select all, then U and unwrap. Switch mapping to UV, and now the scratches should display properly. Select any bulb face and hit L. Create a new material. Add a mix shader and set an input to a transparent shader and the other to the principal shader. Add a Fresnel node to the factor input and use a color ramp to fine-tune it. In edit mode with the whole bulb selected, click Assign on the material to assign this shader to the selected faces. Control-Shift-Click to preview the Fresnel color ramp. We want the black area to be transparent, so flip the transparent shader to Input 1. Set the principal shader to transparent with a small amount of roughness. Now the emission light itself, in edit mode, Shift A and add a circle. Make it 6 verts and extrude it inside the bulb. Press F to fill the top circle. With any vertex selected, hit L and create a new material. Click Assign to assign this new material to selection. Set the emission color to white and add a high strength value. Now we'll repeat for the crinkly bulb. Add the second wire material we created. Select a bulb vertex, hit L, and add a new material index and set it to our glass shader. Again, in edit mode, add a 6 vertex circle. Make sure its position is center of the light. E to extrude it and F to fill the top. Create a new material index and set it to our emission shader. Set this to a single user shader so we can edit it without affecting the other light. Add a color ramp to the emission color. Set a red and green index. Set the gradient to constant and the position to even from left. Set the color ramp's input to an object info's random output. Scale the lights down to an appropriate size and hit Ctrl A to apply the scale. Okay, shading done. Now we will finish by adding the lights to the wire. Select the wire and go back to its geometry nodes. Add a Add Points to Faces at the end of Set Material node. Then add an Instances on Points. Now all we need is to add an Object node as the instance to add on the points. Now add a Join Geometry node to join our instances onto the wire. In the Object Info node, set a light as the object to add. And there we go, lights added. For high-level control of the number of lights, add a Group Input node and add the minimum distance and max density values. For light rotation, add a random vector value with a high max value. Add the random value seed to the group input. We'll also add the instant scale to the group input. Now we have simple controls to add and position the lights. The scale is automatically added as a vector input, so we change this to a single float value. If we also add the object to the input, we can easily swap out to different bulbs. And that's it complete. I'll just add some text as a surface to draw on. Now we can draw Christmas lights, select the wire, tab into edit mode, select all with A, and delete everything. Select Draw Curve and make sure Surface Draw is on. Now draw on any surface you desire. To give the curve enough points to bend more, increase the twist count. This wire is long, so I'll need lots. Blender comes with the real snow add-in, which I'm using here. And that's a wrap. Just create a scene to show off the lights. An extra thing we can do is set a string as our initial curve, giving the ability to write text with the Christmas lights. I've added a new curve and added our lights geometry node modifier to it. In order to have good values to start with, set default values for the inputs. Make the geo node single user so we can edit without affecting the original. All we need to do is add a string to curve node as the origin geometry. Add its string value as an input, then we can type anything we like. To get the wire to follow the text rather than a doubled outline of the text, search and download a single line font and set it as the font used. Then simply adjust the values to the desired look. And that's it. Drawing Christmas light curves and string is complete. And it's only September. Thank you and good night.